Strong case.
UBS realized that the Justice Department was holding all the cards. It had a major presence in the U.S. and 30,000 employees here, and it could not survive as a global banking power without access to the U.S. market.
If you had such a strong case, why didn't you get the names and numbers of every American account holder in Switzerland?
We got the accounts that really are the core of the fraud. The largest accounts, the accounts that have they're most clearly likely to be associated with fraud.
After the scandal broke, nervous clients withdrew $160 billion from UBS's wealth management operation, and 14,700 Americans notified the IRS that they had offshore bank accounts taking advantage of a program that allows them to pay back taxes and penalties and escape prosecution, which should provide a windfall for the U.S. Treasury.
How much in tax revenue do you think you will gain from this?
I've heard certainly the commissioner of the IRS say in the billions of dollars.
With the government claiming victory and UBS breathing a sigh of relief, the only person with grounds to be really unhappy is Bradley Birkenfeld, who the last time we saw him was wearing an electronic ankle bracelet, and the federal government had restricted his movements to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
I gave them the biggest tax fraud case in the world. I exposed 19,000 international criminals. And I'm going to jail for that?
As it turns out, while the U.S. government was using Birkenfeld's information to go after UBS, the Justice Department was closing in on his biggest client, Igor Alenikov, for tax evasion. Alenikov cooperated with the investigation and paid $52 million in fines and back taxes and got off with no jail time. But because Birkenfeld hadn't told prosecutors about his relationship with Alenikov, Birkenfeld was arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit tax fraud. He pled guilty and was sentenced to 40 months in prison, and he was not happy about it.
And you think that you should not be going to jail?
I think I shouldn't.
Even though you violated the law and you were an enabler. I mean, you were the person who were implementing these policies.
And I'm the only one going to prison. Out of 19,000 accounts and no Swiss bankers?
If he had come forward and told us everything that he knew, a complete and accurate picture in the summer of 2007, we think it's likely he wouldn't have been prosecuted.
Mr. Birkenfeld says that the federal government admits that the prosecutions would not have been successful without his participation in this, and yet he is the only one that is going to jail. Is that fair?
It is not uncommon for someone to engage in criminal activity and to provide us information, but to also go to jail.
The day he walks into prison is the day you will lose a generation of tax whistleblowers.
Why do you say that?
Because no one will blow the whistle.
Stephen Cohn is one of Birkenfeld's civil attorneys and the head of the National Whistleblower Center. He believes there may be one final twist in the case that could give his client the last laugh. That's because Birkenfeld may well be entitled to collect tens of millions of dollars under a federal law that rewards whistleblowers with up to 30% of the money that's recovered as a result of the information they provide, even if they end up going to jail.
Mr. Birkenfeld has saved the taxpayers billions of dollars, brought thousands of people to justice. They should blow up his check. The Attorney General should shake his hand and look into the camera, and he should say, I want a message to every international banker that works to money launder against America. You come here to America, you'll be protected, and you'll be rewarded. Get 20, get 30 Birkenfelds. Let's fix this problem. Let's lower everybody's taxes.
The IRS will ultimately decide whether Birkenfeld qualifies for the reward. If he does, they may have to mail the check to federal prison, where Birkenfeld is now serving time. But it couldn't be worse than returning to Switzerland, where he is regarded as a criminal and a traitor.
Do you think you'll ever go back to Switzerland again?
I don't believe I will.
So far, 10 UBS clients have been convicted of filing false tax reports. Most were fined and sentenced to probation or home arrest. None have received more prison time than Bradley Birkenfeld, who has petitioned President Obama asking for clemency.